Once upon a time, there was a boy named Jack. Jack was a kind-hearted and thoughtful boy, always trying to find ways to help his mother. He lived with his mother in a small, humble cottage on the edge of a quiet village. They were very poor, struggling to make ends meet every single day. Their cupboards were often bare, with only a few scraps of food to sustain them. The sight of their meager food rations was a constant reminder of their poverty. Their only possession of any real value was a cow, a gentle creature that provided them with milk. This cow was not just an animal to them, she was a lifeline. Life was undeniably hard for Jack and his mother. Each day was a struggle, filled with endless chores and worries about the future. Many nights they went to bed with empty stomachs, the pangs of hunger gnawing at them as they tried to sleep. To survive, they sold the cow's milk at the market, using the little money they earned to buy food. It was a delicate balance, and sometimes it wasn't enough. There were days when the cow didn't produce enough milk, and on those days, they had to make do with even less. On the worst days they had nothing to eat at all, and the despair in their hearts grew heavier. One morning with a heavy heart, Jack's mother said, "Jack, we have no food left. We must do something. You must take the cow to market and sell her," she continued. Jack was heartbroken. He loved the cow dearly, as she had been a faithful companion, but he understood the gravity of their situation. They had no other choice if they wanted to survive. With a determined yet heavy heart, Jack set off for the market, leading the cow by a rope. The journey was long, and his mind was filled with thoughts of what might happen. He hoped to get a good price for her, enough to buy food and perhaps save a little for the future. The weight of his responsibility pressed down on him. Jack knew his mother was counting on him, and he was determined not to let her down. As he walked, he whispered to the cow, promising her that she would find a good home. In his heart, Jack dreamed of a better future, one where he and his mother would no longer have to struggle. He imagined a life filled with joy and plenty, where they would never go hungry again. As they approached the bustling market, Jack took a deep breath, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. He knew that this was just the beginning of their journey. With determination in his eyes and hope in his heart, Jack stepped into the market, ready to change their fate. Jack walked for a long time. The sun was high in the sky and the path seemed endless. His feet ached and the cow plodded along beside him, its bell clinking softly with each step. Jack's mind was filled with thoughts of his mother and their dire situation at home. They had no money, and this cow was their last hope. He reached the market square. The place was bustling with activity, filled with the sounds of merchants shouting, children laughing, and the clatter of horse hooves on cobblestone. Jack felt a glimmer of hope as he looked around at the busy marketplace, thinking surely someone would want to buy his cow. He tried to sell the cow. He approached several merchants, each time with a hopeful smile, explaining how the cow was healthy and strong. He even pointed out how much milk she could produce, but his words seemed to fall on deaf ears. But no one wanted to buy her. The merchants shook their heads, uninterested. Some were too busy, others simply didn't need another cow. Jack's heart sank a little more with each rejection. Jack was starting to lose hope. He could feel the weight of his failure pressing down on him. The thought of returning home empty-handed was unbearable. He had promised his mother he would come back with money, and now it seemed impossible. He sat down on a bench feeling defeated. The noise of the market faded into the background as he stared at the ground, lost in his thoughts. He wondered what they would do now, how they would survive. Just then a strange man approached him. The man seemed to appear out of nowhere, his presence almost magical. Jack looked up, startled by the sudden appearance. The man had a long beard and twinkling eyes. There was something unusual about him, something that made Jack feel both curious and cautious. The man's eyes seemed to sparkle with a kind of mischief and wisdom. The man said, "That's a fine cow you have there, young man." His voice was warm and friendly, and Jack felt a flicker of hope reignite in his chest. Maybe this man would be different. "Would you like to sell her to me?" Jack was surprised. He hadn't expected anyone to show interest, especially not someone who seemed so kind and genuine. No one else wanted the cow. Jack thought about all the rejections he had faced that day. He knew he couldn't afford to be picky. This might be his only chance. He asked, "What will you give me for her?" The man smiled. It was a knowing smile, as if he had been expecting this question all along. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a handful of beans. They were unlike any beans Jack had ever seen, shimmering with an otherworldly glow. He said, "I will give you these magic beans." His voice was filled with conviction, as if he truly believed in the value of the beans. "They are worth more than any cow!" The man's eyes twinkled even more, and Jack felt a strange sense of excitement. Could these beans really be magical? He hesitated for a moment, but then, with a deep breath, he made his decision. Jack was unsure. He had never seen magic beans before. He asked, "What do these beans do?" The man explained, "These are no ordinary beans, young man. They are magical. Plant them, and you shall see." The man's words were convincing. Jack decided to trust him. He agreed to trade the cow for the beans. He took the beans and ran home. He couldn't wait to tell his mother. Jack's mother was not pleased. She was furious. "Magic beans?" she cried. "You traded our cow for beans? What were you thinking?" She flung the beans out the window. Jack was scolded and sent to bed without dinner. The next morning, something amazing happened. A giant beanstalk had grown outside Jack's window. It reached high into the clouds. The beanstalk had sprouted from the magic beans. It was truly a sight to behold. Jack had never seen anything like it. He forgot all about his hunger. He was filled with a sense of adventure. He knew he had to climb the beanstalk. The beanstalk was thick and sturdy. It was easy to climb. Jack climbed higher and higher. He climbed until the cottage was just a speck below. He was surrounded by fluffy white clouds. After a long climb, Jack reached the top of the beanstalk. He found himself in a strange land. He saw a magnificent castle in the distance. It was even bigger than a palace. Jack was curious. He decided to explore the castle. He walked for miles before he reached it. He was amazed by its size and grandeur. Jack had never seen anything so magnificent. He approached the castle cautiously. He knocked on the huge wooden door. To his surprise, the door creaked open. There was no one in sight. Jack stepped inside. The castle was dark and gloomy. Jack could hear strange noises. He felt a little scared, but he was also excited. He tiptoed through the castle, his heart pounding. Suddenly, he heard heavy footsteps. A giant was walking towards him. The giant was enormous. He had a booming voice. Jack was terrified. He quickly hid behind a curtain. The giant entered the room and sat down at a table. He pulled out a hen from his bag. He shouted, "Lay!" and the hen laid a golden egg. Jack watched in amazement. The giant was distracted, giving Jack a chance to escape. Jack waited until the giant was asleep. He then crept out of his hiding place. He knew he had to get out of the castle, but he couldn't leave without taking something. Jack saw a beautiful harp on a shelf. It was made of gold and silver. Jack had never seen anything so beautiful. He had to have it. He reached out and touched the harp. Suddenly, it started to play the most beautiful music. The giant stirred in his sleep. Jack knew he had to act fast. He grabbed the harp and ran. Section 8, A Bag of Gold. The giant woke up and saw Jack running away with his harp. He was furious. He chased after Jack. Jack ran as fast as he could. He knew the giant was close behind him. Jack reached the top of the beanstalk. He climbed down as quickly as he could. The giant was still chasing him. He was climbing down the beanstalk too. Jack reached the bottom and shouted for his mother. She came running out of the cottage. Jack told her to bring an axe. The giant was almost at the bottom. Section 9, The Giant's Return. Jack swung the axe with all his might. He chopped down the beanstalk. The giant fell from the sky with a tremendous crash. He was defeated. Jack and his mother were safe. They were finally free from the giant. They had the Golden Goose, the Magic Harp, and a bag of gold. They were no longer poor. They lived happily ever after, thanks to Jack's adventures. Jack had learned a valuable lesson. He learned that even though he had been foolish, his bravery and quick thinking had saved the day. Section 10, A Triumphant Escape. But the story doesn't end there. The beanstalk, now just a memory, stood as a testament to Jack's bravery. News of Jack's bravery and the giant's defeat spread throughout the land, reaching every corner of the kingdom. People came from far and wide to see the remains of the beanstalk, marveling at the sheer size of what once connected their world to the giant's realm. One day, a wise old woman, known for her knowledge of ancient lore, came to visit Jack and his mother. She had heard their story and was deeply impressed by their courage and determination. She told them that the giant had been terrorizing the land for years, causing fear and destruction wherever he went. No one had been brave enough to face him, and many had lost hope that the giant could ever be defeated. The old woman revealed that the beans Jack had traded for the cow were no ordinary beans. They were ancient relics, imbued with powerful magic from a forgotten time. These beans, with their mysterious ancient markings, held the key to a world beyond their own. The woman warned Jack that the magic of the beans could attract unwanted attention. She explained that while the giant was defeated, other beings might seek the power of the beans. Jack and his mother listened intently, realizing the gravity of the situation. They understood that their adventure was far from over. The old woman handed Jack a book of ancient knowledge, filled with secrets and wisdom about the magical world. As Jack flipped through the pages, he saw illustrations of mythical creatures, enchanted forests, and powerful spells. Jack's mother looked at him with pride, knowing that her son was destined for greatness. Together, they stood at the edge of their village, looking out at the horizon, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the sun set over the village, casting a golden glow, they felt a sense of hope and determination. Hand in hand, Jack and his mother walked back to their cottage, knowing that their journey was just beginning. The Book of Ancient Knowledge lay on the table, a symbol of the adventures and discoveries that awaited them. Jack looked out the window with a determined expression, ready to embrace his destiny and protect his world from any threats. Under the night sky, with stars twinkling above, the village slept peacefully, unaware of the extraordinary journey that was about to unfold. Section 11, Happily Ever After. Jack and his mother heeded the old woman's words. They knew they couldn't rely on the giant's treasures forever. They used the gold wisely, starting a small business and helping those in need. Jack, forever changed by his adventure, never forgot the lessons he learned. He used his courage and quick thinking to help others, becoming a beloved figure in his community. He often shared his story, inspiring others to be brave and face their fears. And so, the tale of Jack and the Beanstalk lived on, reminding everyone that even the smallest of us can overcome the biggest of challenges with courage, wit, and a little bit of magic.